Bill O'Brien has a tough decision on who to start this weekend at quarterback, but I think there is one clear choice. It's Grayson James.
You are Locked On Boston College, your daily podcast on the Boston College Eagles. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. This is Locked On Boston College, your team every day. I'm your host, AJ Black of Eagle Insider, part of the 247 Network. I've been covering Boston College for the last decade. If you're looking for Boston College news, analysis, and details on your Eagles, you are in the right place. Locked On Boston College is a free daily Boston College podcast that's been around for 5 years now, and it's available on YouTube or wherever you get your podcast. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Download the app today. On today's show, you guys have asked for it. I'm going to have Anthony Smith of Eagle Insider here to talk about the BC hockey team. We're going to look at the season, his projections out for that. Looking at the first few games, what has he seen? We'll get into all of that on today's show. But to kick it off, I thought Graham Dietz of SI on BC on SI had a great question about Dylan Lonergan versus Grayson James. Earlier this week, O'Brien had some thoughts on Dylan Lonergan and whether he should be starting against UConn. He was asked at his press conference, and here's what he said. To quote, "We're just going to keep going the way we are going and keep fighting. We know what's going on here in this program. That's what we're going to do. Keep going." To me, that does not sound like Bill O'Brien is saying Dylan Lonergan is definitely going to be the starter this weekend. To me, hearing those words, that was a lot of, maybe they're going to think about going in a different direction. Honestly, I read that and said he could mean the way that he said we're going where we're going could be with Lonergan. But he didn't say, and the things that he didn't say is what stood out to me, which is, Dylan Lonergan's our quarterback. We're sticking with Dylan Lonergan. That's what most coaches say. So color me a little skeptical that maybe he is going in a different direction. Because as we said on earlier episodes, Lonergan has really struggled the last couple games. He has not thrown a touchdown pass since Stanford. And, once defenses have figured out that they need to not blitz him so hard and just stay back in coverage, he hasn't been able to adapt to that. So for the UConn game, really you're down to two different quarterbacks that you could play. You get Dylan Lonergan, you have Grayson James. We're back to where we were in August. And I think you're on the midst of a losing streak, 5 straight losses. Lonergan has not been able to cut it. I'm not willing to give up on Dylan Lonergan. However, having him sit and watch and maybe take a breather might not be the worst thing in the world. Grayson James, as I've said all year long, has earned his right to play. This is the point where I would say this is where he has earned to play. Because Lonergan has kind of maxed out right now. It feels like he is just hitting that wall hard. So give him that break. Let James, a quarterback that you've seen play and has helped you win football games, get him out there to see if he can break that losing streak. I honestly believe that if you go out there on Saturday with Grayson James as your quarterback and he starts that game, the odds of you winning that go up exponentially. I would say that if Grayson James plays, your odds of winning are higher than the odds of losing. If you go on ESPN right now, I posted it on Locked On BC's Twitter account and all of my other handles. Right now, ESPN's FPI has BC losing to UConn. I think that will change if you get Grayson James out there. I'm still not confident enough to pick Boston College, but I think you need, at this point of the season, when everything seems like it's going against your program, where everything seems to be negative, you need to hit that reset button. You need to be able to sit your young quarterback down, Dylan Lonergan, say, "Look, dude, it's not your fault. It's our fault that we haven't got you to the point where you need to be. But right now, let's have you sit we're going to have Grayson James get out there, and we're going to show you what you could be doing. I like James. There's a few things about him that I think right now could add just a taste to BC's offense. First of all, I think Dylan Lonergan's a gamer, but I really think Grayson James is a gamer. I watched him at Western Kentucky last year. I watched the end of that season. Even against Nebraska, he tried his darndest out there to rally his troop. Grayson James is a gamer. And he knows, he knows that he goes out there, this is going to be his moment again, and he is going to rock that. So I think if you threw Grayson James out there, he's going to light a fire out of all other 10 guys on that offense, and hopefully that energy translates to the defense. I think that's one piece to look at. The other piece with Grayson James is that I think his mobility, given what's going on, would be huge. How many plays? I mean, we saw it with the strip sack against Clemson, that Dylan Lonergan either doesn't trust his legs or doesn't move at all. He is mobile. I'm going to tell you that. I watched him during the summer enough to say he's not fleet of foot, but he can move the ball. And I don't know what's going on right now, but he doesn't seem as confident running the ball as Grayson James. I mean, even Shaker Rising, we saw him. He looked fine to run the ball. But James, he's tough. He took a lot of hits last year, and he can run that football. That adds another dimension to your offense. So against a team like UConn, I would love to see BC make a surprise here. I imagine Jim Moore is probably thinking this could be coming. But the best thing you could do, best thing for the fans, best thing for this program is get Grayson James out there and get him the chance to reboot this season. Look, the odds of them making a bowl are slim to none at this point. You still have Notre Dame. You still are playing Georgia Tech. You still have Louisville on there. I don't see them getting to 6 wins. But I honestly do believe at this point that if you put Grayson James out there, this 1-11 doomsday scenario that many of us have thought about, I think you can avoid that. Because I think if you put James out there, even if it's just for this game, you're going to win that. But it increases your odds against a lot of teams on your schedule, whether it's Syracuse and a few others. It could help this from being a catastrophic season. You still will have Dylan Lonergan after this year. I really do believe he won't transfer. And you'll have him battle, Shaker Rising and Femi Babalola and DJ Bordeaux next year. But for now, it feels like it's hit that wall. You can keep trying putting him out there, and maybe UConn playing against him against a non-Power 4 team is what the doctor ordered. I just worry that if you put him out there and he struggles again, that his confidence will be shot. Because if he can't beat UConn, look at 2022. When you lost to UConn that season, everything fell apart. You can't afford that here, especially at home. You lost to them on the road, which is one thing, but you can't lose to them at home. So try out Grayson James. See what you have there. I think that might be the answer. Now, in a moment, Anthony Smith of Eagle Insider is going to join us to talk about the Eagle season. We haven't had a chance to really dive into those first few games. Let's get into it. We'll talk about that, and we'll get into his thoughts on the season as we really start to dive into hockey. I love hockey, and I love having an expert on here who's going to know a lot about the team. So he's going to be here in just a moment to talk about that. The NFL season is here, and FanDuel has an offer you don't want to miss. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. Pick a bet, put down $5, and if you hits, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. I love FanDuel because it's so easy to use. Whether it's making one straight pick or building that parlay that you know is going to win, it's so easy to use. And you could do it across games. They have promo codes and promos that you can use. Like every time I go on for Thursday night, they have a promo for, a profit boost or odds increases on a variety of different games, and that's what makes it so exciting. Because I'm like, oh, this is even better, and so I love going to FanDuel for that. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com to download the FanDuel app today and get yourself started. When the opening whistle blows on a new repair, get your crew moving forward with Supply House. Order today and see parts on your doorstep tomorrow. Over 280,000 plumbing, HVAC, and electrical items from the most trusted brands in the business. Their real-time inventory and honest lead times keep you from punting projects, while their industry-leading customer service always has your blind side covered. If you need parts fast for a project, Supply House has got you covered with next-day delivery. Talk about a game changer. And their Trademaster perks like priority shipping and dedicated support make the whole process smoother. So join the free Trademaster program today and score serious perks like priority shipping, lower prices, and a dedicated support line. Visit supplyhouse.com to sign up for free and use promo code SHCollege5 for 5% off your first order. That's supplyhouse.com. Real people, real service. Welcome back, Locked On Boston College. AJ Black of Eagle Insider here, and we're going to switch up from football. I could talk about football all day, but some of you guys wanted hockey talk. I know you wanted hockey talk. And listen, you don't want me talking hockey. You want experts, because that's what we're all about here. So to do that, I'm bringing in Anthony Smith of Eagle Insider. Anthony, how's it going?
Great, AJ. How you doing? I'm really enjoying playing for 24/7 so far.
Yeah, it's great to have you aboard. So let's talk about this past weekend. BC goes on the road. They win one. They tie one. You know, I think the big story of the weekend was the play of the goalie. You want to talk a little bit about that first?
Yeah, seriously. I mean, Louka Cloutier came in from juniors last year. He played in Chicago in the USHL. Didn't really have a lot of success. And obviously there were some lingering question marks going into this season, and there still are. But I mean, what a performance by Cloutier in those two games, especially in that first one. He plays kind of a different style than, I don't know, Fowler played the last 2 years. And we're used to seeing in the past, but man, he really stepped up and he delivered in those two games.
Yeah. Now, he didn't start the first game. Do you see him as the starter moving forward? Do you think that's where Greg Brown's going to go with this, or do you think they're going to kind of rotate between the two of them?
Yeah, so I actually just wrote something about this. I have honestly no idea. Yeah. This weekend they're playing RPI, who's they're not the strongest team. They're unranked. But I mean, I was thinking that maybe they would go back to Korek because they have to at some point. I mean, he's got a lot more experience in college, and he's older. He's an upperclassman, so they might go back to him and get him out of his I don't know, back on track. But they could also go back with Cloutier, and he could continue on this streak, and he could just keep rolling with it.
So talk about this past weekend. I mean, obviously you go on the road, you know, you win one, you tie one. That's going to feel good. You know, offensively, what did you see out of the Eagles, and like who stood out to you kind of out of that first real weekend?
Yeah, I was actually fortunate enough to be there in person. So I talked with Coach Brown after the game about some things. And what really impressed me were, I mean, the defense played great. They played a lot better than they did in the first game. But honestly, their depth forwards looked really good in that one, or in those two games, sorry. I think, I mean, obviously, Dean Letourneau finally got his first goal in the NCAA. I mean, that was a huge weight off of his back. The teammates were absolutely stoked for him. You could just tell. And the few BC fans in the crowd were going nuts when it happened. So that was good to see. But they also got some good moments out of guys like Will Vogt, Cornforth, Resendez, apart from a couple of bad penalties. But their depth forwards played really good, and it really propelled them over the edge in that series. Yeah,
and you know, to go there and win on the road after the Quinnipiac game, where obviously that's not the type of start of your season that you want, but you're playing a good team. That kind of stuff happens. You know, who's going to be the offensive leader on this team? Like, it seems like this. I think last year the big issue that you had was that you had a lot of top end talent, and then it was just so top heavy that you weren't getting scoring from the rest of your lines.
Mhm.
Is that going to? Do you feel like this year it's going to move away from, having these stud blue chip recruits to having more balance on this roster?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we're already kind of seeing it. I mean, Higgins is seventh overall pick. He's extremely skilled offensively, and he does a lot of good things in the defensive zone too. But they have six really good top six forwards.
Mm.
Seniors Oscar Jelvik and Andre Gasso. Jelvik obviously missed those 2 games with an injury, but if they can kind of get some balance up and down the lineup, especially with the forwards,
Mm.
they're going to be in a really good spot, and we're already kind of seeing it. They played great so far.
Jelvik, how significant does this injury sound like? Or is this a guy that could be coming back soon? Or
Yeah, it doesn't sound like it's serious at all. It's unrelated to the big problem he had last winter, but he was moving around down there. He was fine. He's probably going to miss maybe 1 game at the most. He'll be back for the Denver game. I can almost guarantee it.
that's going to be a huge one, right?
Yeah, seriously.
So it's on the road again at RPI this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Are you expecting BC to sweep this weekend? Is that like where the talent level between these two programs is at? Or I mean, obviously, anytime you play on the road is always tough. But do you think BC could?
They only have that 1 game against RPI on Friday.
Oh, sorry, 1 game.
Yeah. They need to win that game.
Yeah.
Plain and simple. I mean, I know the pairwise isn't as well. It's not a thing anymore. It's like the Ken Palm for basketball, pairwise for hockey. The pairwise has been replaced by the NPI ranking system, and I don't know too much about the math behind that, but I know it gives teams a lot more at-large bids, so auto bids into the tournament essentially. And with these early non-conference games, you can really butcher your season with dropping non-conference games, which is why it was huge that they stepped up in Minnesota, because Minnesota is going to be, lingering around the top 10 all season long. So,
Gotcha. All right. In a moment, Anthony and I are going to talk about. Let's move ahead. Let's talk about the Big East. I mean, not the Big East. Yeah, Hockey East. I got football brain in my head. Hockey East, and talk about where the rest of the season could go for the Eagles. We'll be back in just a moment to get into more hockey talk here on Locked On Boston College. Mazda crafts cars for those who do more than simply move. From footwork to breathwork, athletes sweat all the details. Mazda brings the same intention to how we craft every model. You can feel Japanese craftsmanship in every detail, from the metallic accents to available Napa leather upholstery. You can take advantage every day driving anything but, from smooth handling to intuitive controls. With all-wheel drive standard in every crossover SUV, you can drive with confidence through almost any season. Like our players, we sweat every detail, because when you make every move count, impossible becomes irrelevant. Mazda, move and be moved. The Charitable Irish Society has been part of Boston's history since 1737, making it the oldest Irish society in the Americas. With deep ties to Boston College, its leaders and members continue a proud tradition of service. Today, the society is still living its mission, raising thousands of dollars each year to help immigrants in need, Irish and non-Irish alike. Last year, their support helped a family from Northern Ireland who faced a medical crisis and couldn't cover rent and bills. You can be part of that impact. Membership is just $75 a year, and it goes directly to helping families when they need it most. And mark your calendar. The annual Silver Key Dinner is coming up October 29th at the UMass Club, honoring Archbishop Henning. Get your tickets for the annual Silver Key Dinner and join the Charitable Irish Society today at www.charitableirishsociety.org. This is Locked On Boston College. AJ Black of Eagle Insider, and thank you all who have made Locked On Boston College your first listen every single day. And for our everydayers out there, thank you all who have subscribed to us on YouTube or wherever you get your podcast. If you're looking for a second listen, check out Locked On ACC. They're talking everything Boston College here on YouTube or wherever you get your podcast as well. But we're talking hockey here with Anthony Smith of Eagle Insider. And we didn't get a chance to really preview hockey here. But it's like a slow roll into their season, so it's a perfect time to jump in as fans are starting to kind of watch to see what Greg Brown has done, what he's brought to this team. What should people be expecting out of this Boston College squad this year?
Yeah, I mean, the squad has a lot of talent still. I mean, they brought back, like I said before, 2 senior forwards, Oscar Jelvik, Andre Gasso, upperclassmen, and they still have those 2 stud USA players, Stiga and Higgins, who really need to contribute a lot of points this year, and they will. This team has a lot of offensive talent, like I said, but defensively they're also really solid. They brought back Minetti and Fortescue. They're both upperclassmen. They play a lot of minutes. I think last weekend Minetti played like 25 minutes consistently, and they have guys like Gustafson who's like offensive minded. He can move the puck well and do all that stuff and score. So they're still really good, and it's silly to think that they couldn't make the NCAA tournament come springtime.
Now, one of the things BC seems to always get stuck with, and we saw it against Denver, and we've seen it against other programs in years past, is that they bring in a lot of talent, but they run into programs, especially in the tournament, that are older and more experienced. You run into those teams that have Denver had it, like 23 and 24-year-old guys, and your kids are 19 years old. Is this team older, or is it still falling into that kind of, this is the way BC is built, and they're going to still have to figure that kind of stuff out?
Yeah, there's going to be some growing pains. I mean, they got an interesting situation with goaltending. They got the freshman and Korek, but they're also really young on the front end. While they do have a lot of solid guys, a lot of solid forwards, they're all really young, especially in their bottom 6, which is honestly where you need some experience. In that season where the Eagles had so much success in 2024, you had those 3 transfers, Bankston, Malone, and Armstrong, who were all really, really consistent, established hockey players in the NCAA.
So let's look at the rest of Hockey East. The preseason poll came out, and I believe it was BU that was ranked number 1.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you see the talent coming? It seems like it's BU, Maine, maybe a few other programs that are going to really challenge BC. Where do you think the real talent is in Hockey East this year?
Yeah, in Hockey East, there's 6 teams who really have it, and the other 5 kind of are, I don't know, bringing up the rear end. Mm-hmm. You have BU's, obviously, they're number 1. They're absolutely loaded. They brought in two transfers from North Dakota who supplement their young guys, their young recruits so good, and they also have those All-American caliber players up front. So they're going to be the team to beat. And then you also have Maine, who really don't lose any games at home. Their building is so electric, and it's really hard for teams to come in there and beat those guys. And whatever Ben Barr seems to be doing lately, it seems to be working. And then obviously BC is good. And then you have UConn, who made their first ever tournament last spring. They're really solid. Greg Kavanaugh was a longtime assistant at BC. He's a really good coach. And then Providence has brought in a lot of good recruits, and they're really looking good. And then obviously UMass has had their best 5-year stretch in program history.
Yep.
And they got one of the best goalies in the country. So
if you were to put on if you were to grab a magic 8 ball and pick where you think BC is going to end up this year, how far do you think this team can go?
Yeah, in the Hockey East, I mean, I feel like they could probably make the Garden, the games at the Garden, make that semifinal. They have enough talent to do so, and they have all the right pieces. It's just a matter of beating those games you should win, those games at home against the bottom 5 teams, and staying healthy. It's really big.
Yeah.
And so far they've been good with that. I mean, they haven't really had too many problems in past years, except for that one defensive setback, in the middle of last year. But yeah, I think they can do some damage in the Hockey East this year for sure.
It's definitely going to be an interesting team. And I'm glad you came on to talk hockey, because I love to have experts on here to talk more. That I could talk football all day, but when it comes to hockey, I think there's a lot of BC fans out there that want to hear more about hockey. So I'm really glad you're here, Anthony. So.
Sure.
You can follow Anthony Smith over at Eagle Insider, our site, with me, Mitch, Mike Sidley. We're all there. If you want to get his hockey work, it's up there all the time. You can follow him on Twitter at AJ. AJ, that's me. At Anthony_Smith89. Sometimes I go on autopilot, Anthony. And Anthony, any last thoughts before we head out?
Yeah, I'm just really looking forward to sticking with 24/7. It's been great so far. And obviously, like I said, more than welcome to come on anytime and talk some hockey.
We'll have him back on, I'm sure, as the season progresses. For Anthony Smith, this is AJ Black. Follow me on Twitter. There we go. On Twitter at AJ Black 247. You can check me out on Facebook, Instagram. Oh, God, I'm on every social media app. TikTok. If you're a TikToker, I'm out there too. Check us out on all of those platforms. I'll be back on tomorrow as we preview the UConn and BC football game for this weekend with Mitch Wolf. I'm going to tell you, one of us is going to pick BC, one of us is going to pick UConn, and it's not who you think. We'll be talking about that on tomorrow's show. So thank you all for making us your first listen every day. And for Anthony, I'm AJ. We'll see you again soon for another episode of Locked On Boston College, your team every day.